It's certainly part of our job to hand the torch to the next generation, and next generations, I should say.
My name is Ilone Kremer. I am the founder with my husband, George Kremer, and we are the owners of the Kremer Collection.
And so I'm George Kremer. The reason for creating a life's work has to do with, in a way, projecting your identity into the future. Now, personally, I've never known any grandparent. I have not known most of my uncles and aunts. And that is because of the war, Second World War. And so I've always felt that that was somehow a miss. And I don't want that to happen to my grandchildren, because I felt very strongly that I know very little about my grandparents. And whatever I do know, I want to write down so that my children and my grandchildren will know where I came from. There's always somebody more intelligent than I am. There's always somebody more beautiful than I am. My wife doesn't believe that, but it really is true. Very few people actually can say that they have left a beautiful collection of Dutch and 17th century art to their children, their grandchildren, as a life's work. That is something special, and I hope that's how they will see it in the future. So that is really the reason and the thinking behind building the collection.
We both feel that, of course, we are the owners of the collection, but we always feel that we are the caretakers. We are the ones that have to preserve and to take really good care, restore them when needed, and to keep them for future generations.
It's certainly part of our job to hand the torch to the next generation, and next generations, I should say. So we decided quite a long time ago that we would like to keep it together, because as a collector you have really only three choices in life. You realize that you're creating more and more and more of a problem by buying more and more and more paintings. So the only possible solutions are either you sell it, which makes no sense to me at all, toward the end of your life, or you give it away, which would not be our solution, or you keep it in the family, which is a solution that you do not see very often. And it puts a heavy burden on the children and the grandchildren, on future generations.
Yeah, it's a big responsibility.
Big responsibility, and at the end of the day, it needs to be taken care of. But I think we're moving in the right direction there.
So far, so good.
So far, so good, yes. The process of observation starts with, do I like what I see? And that's very important, probably the most important aspect. And then you start asking all the other questions about, what does it look like in detail? How does it fit in the collection, if it does? And the process is the combination of looking at many thousands of paintings every year. That's how you get an eye, I suppose.
There is a difference between really looking at a painting, or with the knowledge we have now, you look at a painting in a different way, I think.
Well, you cannot look at it in a very detailed manner. you shift immediately because, it's like a kaleidoscope. It's sort of, the images go, move through your screen, as it were. So that's where the first decision is made. And out of those thousands of paintings, if we're lucky, we may end up with 2 or 3, maybe 4 paintings a year. And that's because of the fact that you want to maintain quality in your collection, because of many other things. And let's not forget that these paintings are, on average, 400 years old. And so condition is always a major issue that has a big impact. So it's only when you have done the pre-selection, when you really start looking at the painting in detail, that's when you read about the painting, what the provenance is, what the sizes are, what the circumstances are, what the experts on the painting write about the painting. And then you start thinking about, okay, so how interesting really is this?
When you start, you have no clue what you're doing. You just listen to an art historian or an art dealer, and you just, if you like the painting, if you like the image for what you see, we just bought a painting. But it gets better every year because with all the experience and the more you see, and we went to all the musea and we went to all the art fairs just to get the experience and get the knowledge. So now, with all what we've seen, if you find a painting by any artist and you really get that excitement, we both still go like, oh, wow, we have to have this painting. We do have to have it. It makes you like, this would be so wonderful for the collection. We are talking about 400-year-old paintings. So you can't just say, oh, I would like to have another Vermeer, or I would like to have, no. It's also what you find and what you feel that is like a missing link. Maybe you already have a painting by this artist, but it would be on a later date, earlier date, and it fits perfectly in the collection to make another connection with maybe another school or another painter. So you just go with the flow, and it's all about experience.
As I said before, it's better to buy a fabulous painting, a masterpiece by a small master, or what today we think is a small master, than a so-so painting by a great name. Our image of the art market and as a whole, and of masters and who are great masters and who are not so great masters, is defined by what we know as of today of painters that lived in those days. That image is still subject to change. The subject of the image of how Rembrandt worked is still under development. New paintings by Rembrandt are still being discovered, as an example. And so, yes, we have paintings in the collection of masters that you wouldn't recognize the name of. I wouldn't have recognized the name of 30 years ago. But the point is, when you look at the painting, are you wowed? Are you impressed? Do you say, my goodness, I never knew this guy could paint such a jewel? That is the point. You have to look at what you see. You have to forget about name of masters. You have to forget about money. Very important, because money is something that, that's a measure of greed. It's a value we attach to something. But the painting itself doesn't change because of that. It doesn't change because of the name of the master. It doesn't change because of the money that we pay for it. It is either good, it's bad, it's so-so, or maybe it's a masterpiece. It's really fabulous. So that's what you look for. We challenge sometimes the establishment, that's true, regularly, but when you have a very strong conviction, you sometimes do. And what is different is that your taste and your feel for that particular painter and the way he works, that may be different from what other people perceive, what other people see. If you talk about real attribution, yes, it has happened to us. It doesn't happen very often, but we sometimes are, as they say in good Dutch, eigenzinnig. And it's just based on feel, and it's based on knowledge to some extent, sure. Experience.
And you have to take a chance too.
Well, yes.
Because sometimes after all of these years and looked at so many paintings, you do get a feel of the quality of a painting. It could be the way he paints,